what does customer marketing look like at Reputation?
So when I came to Reputation about 3.5 years ago, I got to lay out customer marketing from the ground up. So I decided to look at it in three specific pillars. And the order of these are very intentional. So first and foremost, starting with community, bringing our people together, giving them someone else to lean on. Every company's scaling. So it was so critical for us to make sure that our customers could really rely on each other as the subject matter experts. We want to highlight those subject matter experts and raise them up. And then we took it to advocacy. So really finding those customers who were our champions, who were super excited about our product. I feel like every brand can agree that you might have 15 to 20 consistent hand raisers, consistent cheerleaders that are awesome. Like they're so grateful to have. And whenever you can add to that team of cheerleaders, it feels so good. So I'm looking at the advocacy group for really our customer led growth. So thinking of reviews, thinking of testimonials, customer speakers, a lot of that true active advocacy. And then the third pillar reputation is that we do incorporate the expansion aspect of it. So looking at the upsell opportunities, looking at growing the overall package and the longevity of that customer. So those are our three pillars that we look at here at Reputation.
So does expansion actually sit within your team, like with accountability for expansion revenue?
Yes, it does. So we look at both sides of the funnel. So we're looking at retention and our net revenue. And then we're also looking at the expansion numbers.
That's awesome. I want to get more into that. But I guess first, you've been at Reputation for just under 3.5 years, and you've been promoted at least twice from manager to now global director. So, what's your secret?
First and foremost, I love my manager. She has been just such a great role model. And when she first started to oversee me and our team, her number one piece of advice she always gave me was tie yourself to the revenue. And everything you do, tie it to the revenue, whether it's a net retention revenue, whether it's a new upsell revenue, tie yourself to what you're doing. And so I can take our G2 reviews, for example, where previously we'd really just report on here are the new reviews we got for the quarter. Here's our overall star rating. Here's our NPS is what we're looking at. But she's like, no, Cass, let's take it like a step further. Let's really monitor what this review generation is doing for new business, for example. And so we're able to take the path of when you get new reviews on G2, you typically rank higher. When you rank higher, you get more lead generation. When you get more lead generation, you get more opportunities. So we started following that whole path now and tying our efforts on G2 to actual new co and new opportunities that we're bringing in, tying it to that revenue. That mindset has really helped us go through every single task and effort that we take on. But looking at what is the overall impact to the business and always bringing that back up, especially when we're reporting up. So tying all those advocacy efforts to revenue is really going to make the difference to help prove the value of customer marketing at an organization.
That's amazing and so impactful. You mentioned G2 reviews. I'm curious
Mm-hmm.
about some of the other pillars and areas, how you've tied them to revenue, because I think this is an area a lot of advocacy and customer marketing folks aim for and sometimes struggle with.
Totally. So looking at our three different pillars that we have, there's community. And within community, I focus that really more so on our retention aspect, our NPS, the customers who are really happy, and creating a series of micro moments of great, exceptional experiences for our customers at scale. Like as any tech product, there might be hiccups within a product release. It's never going to be 100% reliable. But when they think of our brand, I want them to think of an exceptional experience. So thinking of like over communicating with newsletters, over communicating with product release, putting webinars together for training opportunities, all those different moments to show that those who do engage with us, their overall net retention of revenue is going to be higher than those who don't. So that's a factor that we look at consistently, especially with our community. We'll look at all of our members in our community and what that NRR looks like compared to the NRR of those who don't. And consistently quarter over quarter, our community engagement is higher. So we're able to show the value within that sense from a retention standpoint. And that really resonates a lot with the C-suite, the higher ups. And like with those guys, they like those numbers quite a bit.
With regards to community, how do you think about the fact that we're all so busy and people have less time to do all these various things and engage in more communities? Like, how do you
Yeah.
get value out of that and bring them value knowing that everyone's bandwidth is stretched more and more thin?
So I actually see it in the other way where because everyone's so busy, that's where communities are great. I'm running all the time. I don't necessarily have time to put in a support ticket and wait and try to figure something out with another company. I'll typically go into the community and say, hey, I'm having this issue. Who can help me like now? And it is amazing how many people will raise their hand and say, oh, yep, I've been there, done that, go XYZ, problem solved. I'm like, great, thank you. Or I know I'm involved with the Customer Marketing Alliance and some of the different CMA weekly communities. And I love joining those because we don't always have those really great moments where we get to sit back and ideate and think of a really cool brainstorming session for cool new campaigns. But I'll go to one of these like weekly calls and everyone will just share like their favorite campaign from the past year. And it's like, wow, that's amazing. Like you just gave me a whole laundry list of fantastic ideas that I can put my spin on and execute. So really at the end of the day, it ends up saving me so much time. And that's what we try to do for our community is have each other be there for support resources, or let's talk about pain points. Let's see what someone else did for an idea in the goal to like actually save them time in the long run.
I love that reframe and the specific idea of community as customer support, because as you say that, I think about the tools that I use where it is really frustrating to wait for a response. And if there are forums or if I can ask someone in the like community platform, amazing shortcut. You mentioned some of these things between community and advocacy expansion and the pillars. What tools are sort of your top value drivers for these?
A dedicated community platform is a requirement. We use that consistently. Luckily at Reputation, our product is all about taking online reviews and consolidating that online feedback into some really great insights. So I feel very fortunate to get to work advocacy at a company that is advocacy for multi-location businesses, because we can really pull in our own reviews and get some incredible feedback on how to act on what customers are saying. So I do rely on our own tool quite a bit internally. We actually also start investing in Riverside as an area to really capture some more of the video case study elements. People don't want to read a 5 to 6 page PDF case study. Like no one really has the time for that. They love the video aspect. They love the human element that the video brings. So now we're starting to do quite a bit more video aspect and utilizing different podcast style tools to help facilitate that.
I love that. I also really love the intersection of community and advocacy. We saw this with Gainsight, where they were creating community focused content that was very much like ideas on how to better utilize the product or what people were doing, and got into some of the nitty gritty, thinking, oh, this is good for customer audience. And then found that prospects found it really valuable because these were people who wanted to understand, how would I use this tool? And not only that, like the strategies are universally applicable. Getting into like less marketing salesy type content that's actually just high value for people in that particular like discipline of work that your customers are, can be really great.
I couldn't agree with you more. And that's actually a strategy we love to implement too, is in that community when people are bouncing ideas back and forth, you can tell reading through the discussion threads who's really excited about their topic. And so then that's when we hand raise them and say, hey, let's get you on a blog or say your piece on social. And we would love to repost that for you, because as we've seen, user generated content is going to resonate with prospects tenfold than something that marketing would put out there. Prospects are going to expect that a marketing team is going to put out this thought-provoking article. Of course, they're going to think that. They're like, you should do that. You're the subject matter expert. But when one of our customers becomes that thought leader, becomes that expert and posts something very like helpful, and we repost it, it's just such a benefit overall where it's more realistic to prospects. It's our opportunity to really spotlight our customers and say, yep, this is what success is. This is what excellence is, like great job, and just get to boost their own personal brand too. So I think it's a win overall.
Yeah, 100%. I'm curious, you mentioned a couple different formats. If you had to eliminate one of these 3 customer proof types, what would you kill? Customer video, G2 review, or case study?
I could never say G2 reviews because that's just such a powerful tool. I would lean further away from the case study and more toward the video, solely because we're seeing that's how people want to consume that information, that more of that quick take, audible way versus sitting down and reading a full case study. And I've also found that trying to ask customers for a quote unquote case study is so difficult. So we really tend to switch our verbiage up quite a bit and say, we'd love to highlight you in a success story or a customer highlight, a customer spotlight, because it really takes away a lot of that barrier to entry or like that fear of, what's this all going to entail? Are you going to give away our secret sauce? Are you going to ruin what we're doing to our competitors and show that strategy that we don't want seen? And so minimalizing that term tends to be the better route to go.
That makes a ton of sense. When I first started Laudable, a big reason was I was a CMO running a lot of case studies, and oh my God, they were so time consuming, and not so much like the actual act of writing it so much as everyone's feedback and approvals and everything, like so much back and forth and collating work. So that was a big thing for me. So I feel like gone is the day of the 8-page PDF case study that's just like an ad.
I mean, sometimes it's really nice for a nice infographic or a really pretty visual. Like those are really well received. But if you just get that 8-page paper, it takes a lot of work to put that together, and then not a lot of people are reading it in its entirety.
Are there any things that you're really excited, like new strategies or tactics that you're excited for to try this year?
So This year, even though we're getting more to that back into office area and people are returning more in person, we're actually seeing a lot of people still really gravitating towards like virtual events. And so we love doing these for like customer appreciation events, or if we are highlighting some new product releases or a new functionality, we love to pull together a big group of our customers and put on like a virtual event, whether that's a virtual wine tasting where we talk about products in between the tastings, or gosh, I think upcoming we have, it sounds really bizarre, but I think it's going to be great. It's a wine and potato chip pairing virtual experience. So I'm like, okay, why not? That might be interesting. But it's a great way that, again, creates like those micro moments that customers can come to our brand no matter what the situation is going on with the product at hand, but come together and just enjoy a nice experience. They don't have to leave the comfort of their home, but we can still create that great positive experience together. Those have been really well receptive. Even though we are going back in person, the virtual events are still extremely successful for us. So I'm loving that. And then another one that we're going to continue pushing, we started at the end of last year, but it's been really well received, is taking our customer stories and presenting them more from an internal aspect. And we call them like our reputation baseball card series, if you will, where it's a really quick customer success snapshot of the customer, the brand, what they've done with us, why they came to us, and what the success looks like. And it's all for an internal purpose. A lot of our customers that we work with are a little bit more private. They're higher clientele that don't necessarily allow us to use their logos, which is such a pain point in the customer story space. When you have great customers and great stories, you can't use their logos. So we put together an internal approach where we're not publishing these stories out loud, but internally we'll create this quick baseball card snapshot for our internal teams to use literally at their fingertips at their desk. And that's been a huge success. So we're going to continue republishing different stories.
On the internal team side, what's your point of view on best practices for sales to use content, collateral, intel that advocacy is generating?
That's such a good question, especially because from our standpoint, being on the customer marketing side of it, we are happy to create. And I think the constant request is more. So I think it's just a lot of taking a step back and showing the data-driven approach of, hey, let's look at our matrix of all of our industries and all of our products, and let's show how we're filling all of these gaps. A lot of times when we get the request, my customer's not happy, can we do a case study for them to make them feel good? That takes a lot of work. Let's see what else we can do to like make them feel special, make them feel seen. Or, the sales comes to us all the time saying, hey, I have this industry, I need this product, I need a case study. Great. Here is your whole library, all of your matrix. Take it and run with it. And another area we like to look at too is trying to look at a data-driven approach. So within our LMS tool that we have that helps really empower our sales team, we actually like to look at all the different downloads of what are the case studies that they're pulling more frequently? What are the slides and the stories that they're using? Because more often than not, in our library, we probably have, 70 stories in some way, shape, or form. So we're like, which ones are you actually using? What's the vehicle that you're driving? Is it just a slide? Is it the full PDF? Is it the video? And more often than not, we found that there's probably 5 or 6 slides that get used 3 to 4 times more than any other one. And it's okay. Yeah. So we're going to build on those existing stories and make them more robust and keep running with those.
Yeah, sounds about right. I'm laughing at them more and more because yes, that's always the dynamic, right? Sales, we need this case study. I haven't heard as much before, although you're so right that case study to make them feel better. I'm imagining it as like the emergency or the airborne that they take.
Yep.
Like, quick, fix it with a case study, which is so funny. And then I have to ask, do your sales teams use, or sales and CS teams use like Gong or any of the call recorders? And do you use that in advocacy in any way?
We do. So we do utilize Chorus. And it's a wonderful tool. Our sales enablement team is consistently reviewing these and posting like different highlights internally. I love hearing how customers speak about our product. It just empowers us as an entire company so much more when we can use the words and the verbiage that our customers and our prospects are using. It is going to give us so much more authority and power when we're discussing with future prospects. So I'm a huge fan of always really listening to those recordings and making sure we're speaking like our customers. But I also love it too, because you do get those really kind words that our customers share, whether it's an internal cheer of like, hey, your support team did such a great job, or we worked with so-and-so from solution engineering and they really helped us out. I love that from an internal motivation standpoint. I think words are so powerful. So even to use that from an internal pump up, that's amazing. And then yes, every once in a while we do get those incredible golden nuggets of a customer just raving about their experience. Like, hey, hello, my name's Cassie. I'm on customer marketing. Let's be friends. Let's talk about that. So yes, that's such a powerful way to keep tabs and stay very timely with what's going on.
Do you have a customer love Slack channel or whatnot that you push these out through?
Customer obsessed. Yes, we do. We encourage all of our CSMs to post because really they're the front line. They get to be on these calls. They get to hear their customers word for word. I wish I could be on every customer call and hear this myself. So we really encourage them whenever they do hear those praises or those nuggets, definitely post them in our customer obsessed channel so we can all celebrate and learn more about it.